Welcome to Sheep School. Today we're in the sheep shed. We're going to have a look at this straw chopper that's hooked onto my Massey Ferguson 135. It's an old scrap machine that I bought. I've resurrected it. Let's have a look at the process and see if it's a success. So here's the straw chopper I got my hands on. The budget straw chopper, I should call it. She was pretty small money. I have a little bit of work to do with it to get it to fit onto my little Massey. Look, I know a bigger tractor would be better, but we all know the proceeds of sheep aren't going to pay for that, so we're going to make do with what we have, and we're going to try and fit it onto the Massey Ferguson 135. So you'll see the pins that actually hold the tractor onto the link arms are too big. They're category 2, so I need to change these to category 1s. So we'll just unbolt these and stick in the other ones, and then that'll fit on my little tractor. So we'll get that done now. To get these new ones stuck in. So you'll see the difference in size. That's category 2, that's a bigger size. Category 1 suit my little tractor. Next job is now to get back in, hook it on and see what happens. So you might notice on the machine there's actually no chute or spout for actually spreading the straw into the pens. So here's a quick look at me cutting out the bit of steel to stick one together. Just give you a look at the process of that. I'm just tacking the spout for the straw chopper together here. You'll see I have the back section on it. That's the bit I cut with the angle grinder. So I'm doing it in 2 sections. These were the bits that were left over. That bit will go here, and then this is the upper part of it here. I'll get that tacked now and stick it together. And the next job after that is get it fitted onto the machine. There is my chute tacked up. I have to weld it. That's it welded up. Don't look at the welding too tight. Just going to clean that up a bit now and onto the machine next. So you'll see I have done a little bit of repairs here. There's a piece broken out of this here, so I've cut a little plate. I just need to get this welded in here, get that piece repaired, and then the next job is to mount my spout. So that's it on the ground. It's ready to fit, just get these couple of repairs done, and then we'll try and get this mounted on straw chopper, and we'll soon be ready for a trial. So I took the drum off the machine. I didn't think the bearings looked great, so we took the drum off, and when we took the drum off we noticed a couple of spots. There's the bearings. They're not in great shape. You'll see they're quite rusty and they're quite tight. You'll see this very, very tight. Some of them, it was difficult to get the drum to turn freely. Couldn't turn it freehand, so the motor was under pressure trying to turn it. But we noticed a bit of damage when we had the drum off. Noticed a bit of damage. There's the hole, you can see my fingers through it. So that was blowing out straw. It wasn't helping, it was jamming the drum as well. So I marked out a bit of steel, just cutting it out here, I'm going to patch that bit of a hole. It's much easier done when the drum is off it, so now is the time to do it. So that's the bit of steel, I'm just showing it up to it there. So there's the piece of steel tacked into place, hole all filled, worked out well enough. So here's the 5 new bearings pressed on, ready to fit back onto the machine. You'll see behind me, it's a different kind of a day since the last day we were working on this thing. We've a little bit done with it. So I have my new bearings on it. You'll see these here. They've all been replaced or been very poor condition. So that's the oil motor there that drives the drum. It was weeping a bit of oil here, and it was actually getting onto the belts, so it was leaving combination of things. The bad bearings was leaving it a bit tighter to run the drum, especially with a full bale in it, and the oil weeping onto the belts, it was slipping. So when the pressure came on, it was slipping. So we just couldn't have that, so stuck a couple of seals in it, split down the motor, 2 little seals. I think they were €3 each, so wasn't big money to fix that one. We've tried it there, now it's running and no leaks. So next job is to get the drum back onto it. Oh, we put new blades on it here as well. So I put on these section blades. They're off a finger bar mower, I think, these ones. I'll show you some of them here. They were in bad nick. You'd see, like you can see where they were in poor nick. Like you see, they were all damaged and they had been sharpened so much they were worn thin. So there's quite a few of them like that. So we've replaced the main outer ones. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a sharpen now. It's not overly sharp. I'm going to get them new blades are like razors, so it should help it. So I'll give it a bit of a sharpen. This drum on the forklift and the chopper here, just ready to lift it on now, get it into position, and I think we're ready for a trial run then. You can see the new bearing on it here. So this bracket stops the drum from falling back. It actually carries all the weight. The bottom bearings do the carrying of the weight up the way, and this one stops it from tipping back out the way. So I'll just get this tightened on here now. We're just in the sheep shed here. I have the straw chopper reassembled. So we've got the drum back onto it, we've got the covers back on the belts here, and the oil motor. You'll see the bearings replaced here. So new bearings, 4 new bearings on the bottom, new bearing on the top. So this is the chute that I made up because it was a very low, more for feeding silage, chopping silage. Now, I stand to be corrected, but I believe these machines can chop silage, but they're not great at it. Well, they can do it, but they're very slow. So this one didn't have the high chute on it, so we made up this one now. So we'll just start the tractor and see how the drum is turning, see that everything's working freely. We'll give it a go and see how it does. Now, little tractor never fails to start. Right, so we'll engage the oil motor here. Yep, that's running pretty well. So before I replaced these bearings, what was actually happening was it was jamming on a bad spot on the bearings, a tight spot, and because the motor, the seals in the motor were actually weeping oil in onto the belt, what was happening then as well was the belts were slipping, so you had to go down and give it a wee spin. So them couple of jobs, the 5 new bearings, 2 seals in the motor, the oil motor, it should be running pretty well now. I'm reasonably confident. So the next job is I'm just going to engage the rotor and we'll see how that's running. We'll give it the PTO and see how it's running. So there we go. That's the PTO engaged, the rotor spinning. When you look in there, it's a death trap, an absolute death trap. Really, I believe these machines have a cover, so we just have to keep keep a bale in it, keep it safe, don't engage the DPO. It is actually running quite well, so I can feel a nice blast of air coming out the chute. So I'm pretty happy. I'm optimistic it's going to be a success. You'll see down here the jockey wheel. It's a caster type of wheel I've put on it. Now the reason I put that on it is because it's only a small little tractor. The machine is actually quite heavy because it's so far back from the 3-point linkage. Look, I know it's not designed for tractors. 60 horsepower is the recommended power for driving this machine, but I think it's more to do with the weight, carrying the weight. I believe you can buy a caster wheel kit for them, factory made wheel kit for them to run on smaller machines, because as I said, the machine is quite heavy without a bale in it. You put a bale of straw or hay or whatever you're going to chop, the rough bed and stuff I'll be chopping, you put that in it, it's definitely not going to be able to lift it in, so the caster's going to have to do some of the carrying. So the plan is, go and get a bale, get it into it, see how it performs. We'll give it a go. Bale loaded, gonna start her up, give her a go. Better get a mask on, dusty job. The little pony, as she's known as around here, has performed very well. So it's the first time I've used a straw chopper with the sheep in the shed. Now it is a great job, nice and short chop length, but the problem is, you'd see it on the sheep. Now, I know there's actually too many sheep in these pens, but like most sheep farmers, I am overstocked when it comes to shed space. But of course the thinking is when the ewes thin out, we'll have less sheep in the pen, a few of them lamb, and you get less and less and space becomes more. But that's kind of the problem there. You'll see the sheep is absolutely covered in straw. Now, see, it's a nice short chop length actually, but they're all pretty much covered in straw. But it's a good job. It is bedded well. If you're worried about your ewes getting straw in them, probably not the job for you to be bedding when they're in the pen. Now, this is the day after we bedded the shed with the straw chopper, and if you remember, the ewes were covered in straw, looked messy enough. I never touched them, and if you have a look at them in the pen there, they're actually quite clean. They seem to have shaken the straw off them, so I don't think it's a major issue. Now, some people say you should really take the ewes out. It's not really an option for me because I just don't want to. They're going to make a mess of the passageway and it's just too much hassle. You'll see this is the front of the barrier here. So I only bedded these yesterday, and you'll see already along the feed barrier here, as always, that's the spot that gets pretty bad pretty quick. The rest of the pen is good, like, you know, it's not in need of a bedding at all. So I'm just going to run the bedder, the chopper, point the spout down and just bed along the front on all the pens. I think I'll probably have to do that every day, but it'll just freshen up where they're standing and keep their feet right, hopefully. Leaving a chop in here, I'm going to throw a heap of bedding in here, and then I can just bring it through to the lambing pens. I actually thought it'd be a lot dustier. I'm pleasantly surprised it's not as dusty as I thought it was going to be. What I was really worried about was actually coughing. I thought that the dust would be that bad that the ewes would be coughing, and coughing, in my opinion, isn't great for anything that's borderline prolapse. It's inclined to bring it on because they're putting so much pressure on the back end every time they cough. You can actually see the back end bulging, you know, when they're coughing really badly. So yeah, the dust I was worried about, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So it's going to be a straw saver, or bedding saver I should say, because that's my bales of rough stuff. Some nice hay in it, but a lot of rushes as well. But it's going to be a good saver on that. You'll see I've bedded that whole side, and I've used about a foot of a bale, about a foot. So my plan is to maybe do a bit of bedding every day, rather than what was originally happening was, because you were bringing it in and shaking it out with the digger, you were bedding maybe every 3 days or something like that, and it left in that you were nearly leaving the pens to get a little bit dirtier than they probably should have. So when the bale's in the machine, the tractor's not really doing anything else this time of year. The plan is to leave the bale in it, and then I can maybe do a bit of bedding every day and refresh the pens every day. So when I do mention actually leaving the pens, last year, now this is just my opinion, maybe it's just a coincidence, but in my opinion, dirtier pens than possibly they should be. So we'll say a little bit of dung getting on the sheep's bag or on the teats is a problem. It is a problem in my opinion, because what I noticed last year was like this year, the pressure was on, lastminute.com, everything left to the last minute, but that's just the way I seem to work. I work better under pressure. So everything was left to the last minute. The ewes were housed, it was bedded when they were housed, the pressure was on getting lambing pens set up, and the lambing started a wee bit and all the rest. And some of the troughs had to be set up on various different jobs. So the bedding probably missed a day or two. The pens got a little bit dirty in the week running up to the start of lambing. And what I noticed was joint ill. Them first 20 sheep that lambed, I had 6 cases of joint ill. Now, possibly a coincidence, but in my opinion, dirty pens, teats get dirty. The first thing the lambs do is when they get latched onto a teat is a big mouthful of dung. Now, yes, the colostrum has antibodies in it, but you're mixing colostrum with dung, E. coli. So, few problems there with joint ill. I don't know, I'm myself convinced that keeping the pens clean is really important. So, look, that's kind of why I put a bit of time into the chopper. Because I'm a poor sheep farmer, I couldn't actually afford to buy a decent one. I bought that one for small money, we'll say, very humble money. I'll show you a picture of it now. That was when it was bought, with a few nettles growing up through it, and it was lying idle for, I think, 7 or 8 years. So, yeah, it was very humble money, small money. Couple of ewes, we'll say, I'd buy it. We'll just leave it at that. Now, there was a bit of time and a few bairns and a couple of wild seeds, but small money as well for the parts. Time, yeah, fair enough, but I was messing around home anyway, getting the shed ready and a few bits and pieces. So I would reckon about 2 full days I've spent on it. About 2 full days now would have done it. So in terms of time, not too bad, not too bad. But going to get this other side bedded. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a like, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.